Hey guys, just made it to Blooming Grove, Pennsylvania, and I'm going to be walking down the road here to the police barracks or little police substation. And at this police substation is where police officer Brian Dixon was murdered by Eric FREIN. So we're going to walk down the road, tell you guys a story, and then I believe in front of the police station is like a little memorial. This murder of Brian Dixon, it shocked this community, especially the police officers here in this area. So obviously I'm gonna be as respectful as possible, gonna not hang around the police station too long. But ironically enough, there's a police officer hanging out on the other side of my car. I attempted to locate the police officer's grave, but it's a huge cemetery and the office, for whatever reason, they weren't answering the phones. The best I can do is show you where Brian was murdered at. On the night of September 12th, 2014, Eric FREIN showed up outside the Trooper Barracks, which is the Pennsylvania State Police substation in the Pocono Mountains. And he brought with him his .308 caliber rifle. And when he arrived there, he found two police officers standing outside getting ready for a shift change. And that is when Eric opened fire on both officers, ended up killing Corporal Brian K. Dixon II, who was a 38-year-old state trooper. And he ended up wounding seriously the other trooper named Alex Douglas. Now, after Eric shot both officers, he took off. And about 3 days later, a man who was kind of walking in the area saw a kind of odd, suspicious looking Jeep, which was kind of partially submerged in a pond about 2 miles away from the police substation. The vehicle ended up belonging to Eric's parents, and inside the vehicle, police found Eric's social security card, camouflage paint, and even some bullets that they eventually were able to link back to Eric. Now, of course, this led authorities to identify Eric as their only and prime suspect. Authorities speculated that after Eric drove his car off the road, he most likely walked about 15 or 20 miles back to where his parents lived in a town called Canadonesis, Pennsylvania. Now, on September 17th, the amount of officers and law enforcement helping search for Eric was roughly 200 officers. And by the end of the week, on September 24th, it had grown to nearly 1,000 officers. Police believed that they saw Eric many times throughout the manhunt, but each time were unable to approach him due to the rugged terrain of the area, which unfortunately let Eric continue to evade capture longer and longer. And at one point, one of the lieutenants on duty, named Colonel George Bivens, he even told reporters, and I quote, "I almost think this is a game to him." That is what he said. And he also mentioned that he believed that Eric was almost treating this scenario, this crime spree and murder spree. He said that he was almost treating it like as if he was Rambo from the very first movie called First Blood. On October 30th, 2014, 48 days after the shooting and murder of the police officer, Eric was finally captured by U.S. Marshals Special Operations Group in an open field near a kind of unused or abandoned airport hangar at a place called Birchwood Pocono Air Park, which is about 3 miles from a town called Tannersville. Now, at the time of his arrest, he was not armed, but later on, police were able to finally recover his .308 caliber rifle and a pistol that he had. When Eric was arrested, they found a letter on a thumb drive, and on that letter, which was actually a letter to his parents, it lists some pretty interesting and crazy things about why Eric did what he did. And after police found the letter, they talked to Eric, and he told them during an interview that he wanted to make a change in government and that voting was, quote, insufficient to do that because there was no one worth voting for. He acknowledged that he shot both troopers because he wanted to make a change in the government. He told police that he shot them in order to wake people up because, quote, it was all he could do. Now, just a quick little snippet of the letter I was able to find, and I'll read it to you. Again, this is Eric's words. Our nation is far from what it was and what it should be. I have seen so many depressing changes made in my time that I cannot imagine what it must be like for you. There is so much wrong on so many levels of only passing through the crucible of another revolution can get us back the liberties we once had. Later in the letter, he mentions, as he quotes, I squandered so much opportunity and support and rarely tried my best at anything. God knows I did not deserve the things I had, maybe because he knew I'd be sacrificing all of it in the end. Or maybe this is just a final squander. Who knows? That is what he said. One day after Eric was captured, he was charged with first-degree murder and attempted murder in the shooting that killed Trooper Dixon and wounding, of course, the other trooper named Douglas. Eric was also charged with a plethora of other charges, including assault of a law enforcement officer, 2 counts of terrorism, 2 counts of weapons of mass destruction, possessing instruments of crime, and recklessly endangering another person. He, of course, pleaded not guilty to all charges on January 29th, 2015. Finally, on April 19th, 2017, Eric was finally found guilty of all charges, and on April 26th, the jury recommended the death sentence. Eric was formally sentenced to death by lethal injection, and at this point of the recording of this video, he is still awaiting his execution. Anyway, this is the police station where Brian Dixon was murdered at. And looks like there is a small little memorial here for him. Now, it has a bunch of things about him. He was a drug recognition expert, Top Gun Award recipient, United States Marine Corps, Persian Gulf veteran. So obviously, Brian was former military. Absolute tragic what happened to him. But anyway, it's a very beautiful, well done memorial for Brian. Rest in peace. You'll never be forgotten. Anyway, guys, like I said, I tried to find Brian's grave, but it just didn't work out. So hopefully just going to the actual scene where all this happened, you know, does it justice. But I'm gonna head out of here. Again, my name's Harmon. I'll see you guys on the next video. Thank you for watching.